Allegiance.
To the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Karen, roll call.
Doug.
Here.
Karen. Here. John.
Here.
Jerry.
Here.
Mike.
Here. All right, then we'll open up the meeting with citizen comment. Anybody have anything to comment or state? Anybody online? No? Okay. Move on to the consent agenda. Simple motion to approve the consent agenda.
How about the agenda first, John?
How about the agenda? Anybody to approve the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Doug, aye.
Jen, I.
Jen, aye. Jerry, aye.
My God.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Doug, aye.
Karen, I.
Jen, aye. Jerry, aye.
My God.
All right, and we'll move on to the administration portion, which is the contract payment number 2 for the sanitary sewer water extensions. Questions for Dean? Dean, do you have any comments on this or?
No, I do not.
I'll make a motion for contract payment number 2.
A second.
Aye.
Jen, I.
Jen, aye. Jerry, aye.
My God.
All right, the emergency storm sewer repair behind Subway.
He brought this to my attention, so I put the engineer cost estimate and the quotation out there and would like direction from council to move forward with the engineering and taking it out to bid. I'm not sure when this happened.
It was just recognized not this past summer, but the summer before. So I think it was last fall, probably about a year ago now that we dug it up. And recognized that it was all collapsed. So therefore, it's pretty much gonna, actually what it's doing, there's 2 intakes that are in the parking lot of the dental office there. And what it's doing is backing up in there and it's actually eroding around the intakes that are in the parking lot. So right now it's creating a lot of damage.
Didn't we approve this once, like?
I know it was talked about last year, yeah, when he was here. And, recognizing that it was all collapsed and needed to be done pretty much immediately, that's why we considered an emergency repair.
So these 2 bids that we have on here, that's to get it all done.
The one's actually,
It's an engineer's cost estimate.
This is just
the engineer cost estimate should be like 104,000 or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Yeah, so the contractor quote that came, that I received came in at 87,000.
Yes.
875.
I asked numerous contractors to bid it. I was only able to receive this one bid, but I mean, noticing that it's, nearly 20,000 under engineer estimate, I thought it was actually a pretty good quote.
Are you hoping to get that done right away this fall?
So yeah, the conversation on that with the contractor, they said they would be able to get manholes yet here in 2 weeks and get at it yet this fall. It's not a real big project. There's only 300 some feet of storm, so a week's worth of time, good weather, we should be able to knock it out for the most part. There may be a little asphalt repair or something that might have to be taken care of.
You feel comfortable with this contractor?
Yeah,
We did a lot of work with them in Monticello over the years.
Okay.
They would have, if I could have chosen them, I'd have chosen them.
That's right.
So we have,
Employees change and things change, but all in all, they're happy.
how about
I mean,
budget?
why not? If I want to reach out to them.
How are we gonna pay for it?
Sure. Good. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, the 3 I reached out to, one was check probably one upgrade and then the other one was these guys, so.
Do we have anything in a budget that we could use for this?
We're working on a budget amendment right now.
Okay.
We just have this as an information and discussion
technically.
on the
Oh,
agenda
okay.
tonight. So I mean, it's something that, you know, given, if you give me direction, we can bring it back at the next council meeting. Is that gonna cause problems with getting the manholes or?
I mean, in all reality, it's gonna put us in December. I'm not, I mean, that being said. Or, you know, if we get some snow or something like that, it's probably not something they're gonna start.
You said they could start in 2 weeks.
They were told by the that they could have manholes in 2 weeks.
Is this something that we?
And the manhole's been an ongoing thing where it's been a delay all summer as far as, I mean, that's been the excuse that were used on the two projects that we have going at this time, that they're waiting on manhole blades, this and that. So, I mean, considering they can get them out in 2 weeks, you know.
Could we approve it tonight so they can at least get that stuff?
That's the question I asked Doug.
The answer is, if you wish to, I'll say, and what I'll say to that is, it's on your agenda. The agenda is supposed to put the public on notice of what you might be doing. So it is in the agenda, and it does say, I would like council direction on moving forward with the engineering project and taking bid. This is a repair project, so you don't have to take it out to bid. You don't have to do competitive quotations, and you did reach out to contractors. So legally, it's ready to go. The agenda doesn't say that the council is going to take action tonight. However, it is on the agenda for discussion, so the public is at least on notice. It's kind of up to you. You've got some time constraints here that would make it more of an exigent circumstance, which would, you know, be something you'd want to note in the minutes as to why you move forward tonight. It's probably not a kind of project that I'll say the citizenry would get upset about and want further time or to provide input on. So I think you're probably safe in moving forward tonight based upon the timeframes you're looking at. And the fact that it is in the agenda, at least for discussion. It's not being pulled out of the air just to bring something totally off the agenda to be discussed and moved. So
Sure.
I think with the time constraints, if this is something you want to get done this year, you don't have a whole lot of just would go that route. And like I said, I note in the minutes that, you know, time constraints played a factor in the council moving it from a discussion item to an action item tonight.
Mr. Merchant?
Right.
I make the motion to repair the emergency storm sewer repair, not to exceed the engineering estimate of 104. The change. 104, 211.25.
Can we accept the Eastern Iowa bid at this time?
Yeah,
That'd be a separate motion.
Oh,
The only thing with the V and K, we would have that 10% on there of, in case they find something, you know.
yeah, okay.
A second it? A second.
Doug, aye.
Aye.
You're
Mike, aye.
So now do we need a motion to go ahead and offer the job to Eastern Iowa?
I didn't pick up Doug's motion well enough. If it included to hire Eastern Iowa, but not to exceed, yeah, then I think you would, if that's the direction you want to go.
I'll make a motion to hire Eastern Iowa Excavating and Concrete.
I'll second.
Doug, aye.
You're not,
John, aye.
You're aye.
Mike, aye.
simply because I like their numbers better.
Disagree with that.
And Jerry, you seconded that?
Yep, I did.
It sounds like there's some risk involved in waiting, not only price, materials, damages, so makes sense. Yep, all that.
It's gonna get worse in the parking lot.
Yeah, and I mean.
That's the idea,
All that
right?
stormwater would come from the roundabout area, across the street, you know, in front of. Erie Point and stuff like that, all is forced down that direction.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next item is the resolution approving final report generated as a result of a goal setting meeting. Any conversation?
I lost track of this.
Sort of.
It's not on the agenda. Long story short with this, because it's been a while since we did it, at the goal setting, obviously the council, we made some notes up on the wall and some pieces of paper, and I converted those into a final report. All the resolution is doing tonight is basically saying that final report does look like it accurately sets forth what we talked about that night. It's not approving those projects. It's not saying you're gonna do them at any time. It's just a record of what happened that night and kind of the prioritization that was created that night.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution approving final report generated as a result of the goal setting
I'll second.
Doug, aye.
meeting. John, I,
Mike,
Gotta make it for a long time.
I'm trying to get one in here with Jerry. Did I get that one? Okay. Good.
Just put your pen on.
And we'll get it going.
all right, now we're on to the jumbo sign permit.
Well, hopefully you've had an opportunity to look that over, and George is here with any questions you might have. But it's my recommendation to move forward with the approval. It's kind of the same scenario that we had with the tap house. We don't really have commercial signage language in an ordinance form right now. But planning and zoning is going to pick up that task and start working on that at their Monday meeting.
Is this a lit or lighted?
It'll
Lighted sign?
be, yeah, so it'll be directly under the second story soffit, so there'll be can lights up in the
Okay.
soffit, that just shine down, No lighted letters or lighted box sign, it'll just be a metal sign. Either steel or aluminum.
Will the fence sign be lit, or that would just be?
So I don't know, so the fence sign is an existing sign, and we might have to amend slightly. Our patio isn't gonna be the exact same shape as we thought, so I don't think we're gonna be able to use that as part of the fence. It might just be that sign freestanding in the bushes and rock and in the landscaping area. So I don't know, it's gonna be the same, 15-foot area, but I don't know who's gonna act as part of the fence as well. So, I'm gonna run conduit out there to maybe have a ground light up at it, but we're actually not running up and up there right now. Figure that out in spring.
Yep.
Looks like the construction's coming along very
Yeah, they're
fast.
fine, they're fine.
Yeah,
The roof should go on any day, windows are delayed, they have been for a long time.
right.
So, siding won't go on until windows, maybe around Thanksgiving,
Oh,
when
goodness.
the windows will come in, then siding will go on, but they're gonna continue to work inside. So.
What's your estimated time bill?
Whenever we're ready, they're probably gonna be ready before me, so.
No later than the 4th of July.
Whenever I'm ready to have enough employees, I would be great, that's gonna be big. I'm way ahead of it already, but,
We're
more
excited.
nerve wracking than ever going into town in this environment, but we've been good so far, so. hopefully
Good.
continue. And I think the conventional's on track, like we said, for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him for a couple of weeks, so.
Mike?
Sure you want to do
Didn't put it all out there.
I'll make a motion to approve the jumbo sign permit.
I'll second.
Doug, aye.
John, I.
Mike,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you,
Good work.
appreciate it.
Excited.
Sorry for barging in and
Like I said,
Oh, no worries.
I always overestimate the drive, I don't remember down yet. What the hell did I hear?
Thanks for coming.
All right, the next is the Peosta mini storage building permits.
Hopefully you had an opportunity to look those over. And Deb's online, so if anybody should have any questions. Can you hear us, Deb?
She's muted.
So it's basically the pink locations on the map.
just extensions.
I'm here now.
Okay.
Yeah, the drawing is self-explanatory.
the site 24 by 60, that is ready to go, ready for concrete. Whereas the bigger unit, I don't have the gravel down for that yet. So I meet the setback requirements, zoning. So I am compliant with the city ordinance. I guess I didn't know if you guys had any additional questions.
These are gonna be built like the other buildings? They're gonna look like the other existing buildings?
Exactly like them.
Make a motion to pass for the Peosta mini storage building permit.
A second.
Aye.
Karen, I.
Karen,
Mike, aye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Deb.
Deb.
all right, any other business? Nothing?
I don't have anything.
Okay, any other citizen comments?
I actually do. I brought it up a couple months ago about city sewer and water being brought to the property line for the storages. And I know Doug, the attorney, said, yeah, we need to get working on that. In the annexation agreement, it does say that it needed to be completed by October of this year. So I don't know, maybe Dean can answer that question for me.
Actually, it is already sewer and water depth to, basically to your property line, coming from the west.
Is there a stake or something there that I can see where it is? So
There's
it's
not a-
brought to the property line, correct?
It's not actually to the property line, it's to the easement. It's within the easement of Parkview.
When was that done? I wasn't even aware of it.
Parkview Estates built. Whenever Parkview Estates was built, it's on the east side of Leslie Drive in the backyards of the houses. And the apartments.
Would I be able to find that easy, or can you mark that for me, please?
I'll mark it for you.
Okay, I appreciate that. I just know it says it's supposed to be brought to the property line. I just want to make sure.
I don't know if you heard me or not, Deb, but I said it was in the easement, not to the property line.
Well, I'll look at my agreement again and then I can get back to Annette on that.
Okay.
Okay, we good? I guess one more thing that we need to discuss is today, Mayor Merton did present his resignation today, effective immediately. So I guess going forward, I'll be Mayor Pro Tem until after the election, and we'll figure out what direction we need to take at that point.
I did email all of you a memo just shortly ago, kind of laying out how this all works. It's not slightly unusual, not that it never happens for various reasons, whether it be work related, health related, somebody moves. In this case, with Jim being the only candidate on the ballot, there's still a good chance he'll be elected. So if he's elected, he will basically need to take steps to put the city on notice that he's not going to accept the position, or he could accept it. If he has a change of heart with regard to his resignation, but if he would, I won't go through all the details of the memo. I said you can look through it, but let's say he does not, let's say he gets elected and says, I'm not taking. That then would put the city in a position shortly after January 1, or actually probably sooner, to either appoint someone and tell the public you're going to appoint, and then the public can demand a special election, or you could just choose to set a special election and have people turn in nomination papers and kind of go through the normal route. If the mayor gets the highest vote, writing candidate that gets votes, they do, and he turns it down, they do not get offered that opportunity. Now, that doesn't mean you can't appoint them, but they
Can
are.
you say that part again?
Yeah, so if the mayor gets the most votes and somebody else gets, let's say the mayor gets 150 votes, somebody else gets 20. The mayor says, no, I'm withdrawing, or I'm not going to accept. You do not then go to the write-in vote getter and say, you're next. Not that you couldn't appoint them through that process. If there was nobody on the ballot and there were 2 write-in candidates, let's say, for example, and one of them got 40 and one got 20, you'd go to the 40, and if they said, no, I'm out, then you would go to the 20. But that's not what the code says when you've got somebody on the ballot, okay? Yeah, so there's more in the memo you can look at, but my suspicion, being this close in time to the election, is that he likely will get the most votes because not many people will probably know he resigned, and he'll be on the ballot, so he'll get votes. So I think it'll likely put you in a position to consider which of those other options you want to take. I'd say it was very common for a lot of councils to appoint someone to fill out the balance of a term if the election isn't too far away. Since this is right at the beginning of a new term, it would be more common to have a special election. However, by having a special election, you're going to spend that $4,000 or $5,000 to do it.
What are your thoughts on the fact that no one wanted to be put on the ballot? Would that maybe lean you to the point that maybe they should be appointed?
Well, again, in my experience, I would say this: there's an awful lot of people who are more than willing to be appointed, but have zero interest in running. One, they don't want to, it's not that it's a lot of money involved, but they don't want to raise money for a campaign. They don't want to run ads. They don't want to knock on doors. So if they can get appointed, they would probably do it. So I see that a lot where you'll have unopposed elections, but when the council talks about appointing somebody, then you have 3. So, and you can always, as a council, you can publish notice that it's your intent to appoint. And if you are interested in being appointed, submit a letter of interest, resume if you want to, submit your background, and the council will review all that. Jump through the correct steps, and then you can appoint someone. Again, the public would then, once you tell them that you're planning to appoint, they can get a petition together and force a special election if they wish to.
Well, and I think we heard from the town last time when we had a special election.
Yeah, my only thought process was that we just had an election and no one raised their hand and said, hey, I want to do it. Maybe it's just a thought. I don't know if it even makes sense or not.
Yeah, I don't know. Last time people thought you should have or shouldn't have had a special election.
Should have.
Should have.
But I think we should make public the opportunity to make that decision. But the fact that no one was at an election, no one raised their hand and said, I want to run.
Yeah. And that can say a couple of things. One, it can say they're just aren't too interested. To some extent, I think it says that they aren't all that dissatisfied with how things are going, dissatisfied enough to throw their name in the hat. Or they are satisfied. One, like I said, not paying attention, generally satisfied, or they're happy. You just don't, everybody can make that decision on their own. You're running for office, I mean, make a lot of money and take a lot of grief. A lot of people aren't gonna wanna do that.
After elections, we'll know where we're at better. Anyway, because that one, possibly.
You're gonna write Karen in though, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you are. You spent the last 8 years trying to get rid of me.
Jerry, you didn't, did you?
Wouldn't that?
See? No, it's the other blue shirt. The other blue shirt. Well, hey, check please. They started out well, Chuck.
Well, just my comment on a lot of council meetings and having many mayors over my, there's the good, the bad, and the ugly, and there's nobody perfect, but he definitely, in my opinion, was on the high end of mayors I worked with, as far as his interest in the community, being in the position for the right reasons. I don't think he had an axe to grind. I don't think he had a specific project to push. I think he was well intentioned and ran a good meeting and listened to people, in my opinion. And compared to a lot of other communities, I think Peosta was pretty lucky because there's some of the mayors I've dealt with over the years, there's just some that have no right or no business being in that seat. So I hope Peosta comes up with a good candidate. Keep moving. And my caveat to that is nobody's perfect, so no mayor you're gonna get or council member is gonna be the perfect person. That's just the way it goes.
Except you guys.
Asterisk.
All right, anything else? We should probably adjourn this meeting first, right?
Need to make actually, there needs to be a motion made and then I will shut down the Zoom and then I'm gonna start a new one
A motion made to
go into closed session.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
Second, Doug, aye.
Karen, I.
John, I.
My guy.
Who seconded that? I'm sorry. Doug.
Very quick.
Didn't want Mike to be.
All right, just give me a second here.